Hey Sam, how are you?
All is well as in well. I'm the great.
Listen, man, we're coming off of a holiday weekend. Jesus turn up. From raising from the dead and whatnot. We are back together again after having some eventful and spirited weekends. How did you
Mm.
spend the Good Friday to Easter Sunday timeline?
So my girl, well, not my girl, my bonus son wanted to learn how to grill ribs. So, I had freshly painted my grill. I painted it and sanded it down and repainted it. It looks brand new, like a brand new grill. And
Look at you! Come on, home improvements,
yeah,
DIY.
little DIY. You know what I'm saying? So we had cooked. I had showed him a few things on the grill. It's gonna take a few times. So he did. He did pretty good the first time. But let me tell you something though. Your friend and that mac and cheese. Oh my god.
And we're talking about the actual dish, the the macaroni and cheese that she baked in the oven.
Yes. Yes. Let me say that mac and cheese was hit. I had to give her a little extra something. You know what I'm saying? Had to hook
I
her up.
legit said, "Send me a plate." Like it looks so good.
She did a good job on
It
that.
looks so good. I ain't even
So we
gonna hold
just.
you. My honey's mac and cheese is better than mine.
Oh
So
really?
now
Have you
I am
told
on
him?
the
Did he know
war.
that?
I am. He does know that I am
Okay.
legitimately on the war path now. So
Uh.
now my next goal is to do this 5 cheese mac and cheese to upstage his. His is like 3 cheeses, and he has this amazing roux that he puts in it. But like his mac and cheese literally made me feel some type of way because of how good it was.
Dang. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, dog. She did the damn thing. I ain't gonna even lie. I can't hold her. I said, man. I said, damn. And my mama had came over, so my mama ate some of it too. And I ain't want to
Mm-hmm.
say, you don't want to say nothing too spicy. You got two women, food
Right,
being cooked. You
right.
don't want to get too spicy. So I ain't want to like really say a whole lot. But I was just like, yeah, man, it tastes pretty
You ain't
good.
wanna.
But
He ain't wanna let
yeah,
it know it was better than your mama's.
right. But then when my mom left, I like, babe. I like, babe, for real, that mac and cheese. She said, you like that, don't you? You like that? I like, all right, you got that. I'm gonna leave you alone. But I put that salmon on the board for her, so she enjoyed that.
Yeah, you did the cedar plank salmon. So
It's the only way to do it.
we
It's the only way to do it, Nikki. It's the only way to do
correct.
it.
Because remember when we get appliances, we stick to two meats: chicken wings and salmon. Right now that we're in
Yes.
the now that we're in the middle of grilling season, I think what's the name of our grill? I think it's Komodo Joe. So
Uh huh.
my honey and my bonus son put together the grill here, and they took pictures, and they were so excited. And I think they cooked ribs, chicken. I don't think we've done the salmon yet, but get this, he is ready to get this little appliance or accessory that you attach to the grill where you can actually bake pizzas and make pizzas on the grill.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah. I know you're talking about the little brick oven. It's like they make it like a brick
Yeah,
oven attachment that
it's a
go
little
on. Yeah.
contraption that you put on it, right?
Yeah.
He is so geek. He has ordered all this stuff for the grill, and I'm not even complaining because the food is so good. Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah. Yeah.
what am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? What else did you guys do over the weekend? Just hung out, ate some good food.
Yeah, moms came over. We went to like a little youth football game, but we didn't make it to the fair, unfortunately. But
Mhm.
it's okay because Chance is a trader anyway. As soon as my mom come over Saturday, he's like telling me, "Dad, I gotta go. I gotta go with Grandma. I'm sorry." I'm like, Chance, I thought it was our weekend. I thought this was gonna be like a fellas weekend. Me and you spend some time. He like, no, we'll do it next time. I love you. I gotta go. Grandma need me. And my mom was like, Chance, you can stay with your dad. He like, no, he'll be okay. He'll be okay. He got Miss Najma. He'll be okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I really didn't appreciate that. I don't appreciate him running out on me like that.
I legit love how he's applying logic. Like you got somebody, you'll be fine till I get home. Um, but yeah, so we're coming off of spring break. So last week was spring break, and we did all the things. We went to South Florida, had a great time in South Florida. The weather cooperated. Um, got a chance to hang with pops. Got to see all the relatives that I love, the ones that I like. and that was great. And then the remaining part of spring break, we went to Las Vegas and celebrated one of my besties having another baby. We went to the baby shower, did a UFC fight party, and just got to spend some time with what I call my family, my friends and family that blood couldn't make us closer. And we had a really, really good time. The only thing that sucked was we missed our flight from Vegas on Sunday. So we ended up having to stay in the airport a little bit longer than we anticipated, but Delta let me down, Sam.
Oh
Delta
man.
down. You know, they normally say once you land within 20 minutes, your luggage will be on the carousel, right?
Right.
We were there for almost an hour
Oh
waiting for
wow.
luggage, 1:30 in the
Right.
morning. Um, but we had a really, really good time. We struggled on Monday, but for the most part, we had a really good Easter weekend, had a good spring break, and now because we were gone, we have like so many things to catch up on in reference to TV. So you know what? Let's actually segue into that. So I know from our last episode, we said we were going to chop it up about some things that we're watching, some of the new TV shows that we started, things of that nature. But tell me, what are you watching right now, Sam?
Dog, I am knee deep in Succession. I'm not gonna tell you too much because I know you only in the first season, but the last episode was probably top three, top four television episode of all time. It was that good.
Really?
Yeah, it was really good. It is kind of aggravating a little bit because you know that British people are the ones, the writers of the show, and they got a
Hmm.
very unique look at America capitalism that I do think bother people. But it
You
was
think
really really
so?
good though. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's kind of loosely based off of like Roger Murdoch, the
Roger Murdoch and
C.
his family, and
Yeah,
how they started the network, and all these other
yeah,
moving parts and
hmm,
machinations in order to get the network up and running, and who's going to inherit it, who's going to run it after he
yeah,
dies. Yeah,
right,
I do know that it's based off of that. And I will tell you, you told me to start this show, I think a year or two ago.
right,
I think it was only in season two.
hmm,
And I legit was just like, I can't do it. I keep trying. I started the season over like three times. But
right.
now I'm in season one, episode six. And I was immediately mad at you because I'm watching, I'm watching, and then there's one episode where this guy goes up into his office and literally he is jerking it in the mirror. I mean, not the mirror, at the window,
Right.
literally on the window right before his meeting, because of course he's getting it out to calm
Calm
himself
yourself down.
down.
Right.
Yeah. So he's not too riled up. And I was like, what does Sam have me watching? Like, what is happening? Man is legit top floor of this high rise office building and is at the window yanking.
Yeah, he's going to town. It is very. It's a very interesting show. Got some very interesting dynamic. I don't want to give up what's going to happen. What happened in
No,
this
no.
episode? I'm not going to give that up. But I will say it was very realistic television. And I think it's grounded. A lot of the show is grounded so much in reality, in my opinion. And it's supposed to be a comedy. It's supposed to be like a dark comedy. So a lot of the little jokes you kind of have to watch every episode like twice sometimes. Like I go back and rewatch the first
To
season,
catch
second
all the
season
moving
because
parts. Yeah.
they be making so many jokes and there's so much stuff going on. So I love that show. I'm gonna tell you what I did start watching, Nikki. I don't know if you watching the show yet. Yellow Jackets.
Tell
Have
me
you
what.
started watching Have you watched Yellow
Okay,
Jackets?
so no, you told me about Yellow Jackets, and I saw it trending. And the funny part is everybody says watch Yellow Jackets, and I thought it was about bees. And I was like, okay, I need to get into it. But
That shit is gnarly. It's gnarly.
transparency moment, when you told me to watch Yellow Jackets, I thought of Yellowstone because
Right.
somebody else told me I need to watch Yellowstone, and I haven't
Oh,
watched that.
Yellowstone's awesome. I love Yellowstone. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I love Kevin Costner, so I was like, I'll watch it. But I was like, okay, I gotta watch two Yellow shows
Right.
because I have not started those. But tell me about Yellow Jackets. What reeled you in?
So this is what Yellow Jackets is about. This girls national champion, no, this girls state championship soccer team is flying off to go compete in nationals, a national soccer tournament, right?
Okay,
The plane crashes. They're on this like mountain somewhere in the forest, and they get stuck there for 18 months.
my lord.
Yeah, it's like Lord of the Flies with teenage girls. Yeah, so, I'm not gonna
I
give. It's it's very gnarly. Uh it took me a little minute because they kind of keep showing that when you meet the people, they're in the future. So they're,
okay.
well, I guess it would be the present. So you see them as adults. So you're like, okay, well, this person made it out, and like they're not doing anything too weird. They seem like they normal people, and then they kind of flash back until when they was in high school. Then they flash to when they was on stuck on this secluded mountain or whatever they was on, and
Okay.
it just dives deeper into what happened because everybody's trying to figure out, well, what happened to these girls? Why they not friends? Like they don't see each other. It's been 25 years since they even saw each other. Like once they got found or whatever, they broke up and never was around each other again. So everybody wants to know what happened, and they don't never talk about it. And they kind of show you them kind of devolving into like survival instincts and what happens when you get into trying to survive for that long. I mean, 'cause that's a long time. 18 months.
18 months is an eternity with no
That's
internet, no cell phones, no TVs. Like, you don't know what's going on in the world. You're just out there trying to survive. And you know what vibes this gives me? Lost.
what's that?
Remember Lost?
Yeah, and that's what everybody keeps comparing it to. 'Cause I keep listening to this podcast about it, and they keep bringing up Lost. I never watched Lost. I
Oh
never
my
watched
God.
Lost.
Where were you? Where were
I never
you?
watched it. By the time, because back then, ABC they would have shows that would go on for like 10 seasons, like 20
Yeah.
episodes, and I
Yeah.
just like when it come back to rewatch and stuff like that, I can't rewatch no 20 episode, 10 season show. I mean, unless it's West Wing. I mean, I don't know why I love West Wing, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't put it all together.
So Lost is basically the same type of concept. Everybody's on this flight. The plane goes down and then they're stranded on this island, and they believe it's an uninhibited island, and the seasons go on to show how all these characters are connected, giving you their
Hmm.
backstory and things like that. So it sounds like Yellow Jackets is kind of similar to Lost, but Lost ended in such a trash way that it
I
makes
heard everybody
everybody
got pissed
mad
about.
because you're
Yeah, I
so
heard about that.
invested in it. You're so invested in it. But yeah,
Yeah,
I will definitely check it out. So
and
are you caught up?
Yellowstone.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was about to say
No,
Yellowstone is something you have to watch. That's Kevin Costner's. That is my favorite character that Kevin Costner has ever played.
yeah, and
It's
this
right up there with the
is
guy.
basically
Right
him
up there with
running
Ray.
for office in Wyoming, right? This is in the state of Wyoming or Montana. Where is it based?
That this season he's the governor this season, but
Okay.
it starts off with him. It starts off with him just basically the fight to keep 80. I think he got 80,000 acres of land. I
Okay.
think it's 80,000 acres of land. It's 80. I think it's 80,000. That's a lot though, but I want to say 80,000 though. And basically, it's like he is the caretaker that's been passed down. His family basically established that part of Montana, and he has all this land that's been passed down from family and family. But the thing about it, and they let you know in the show, is that getting the land was probably the easiest part of it. Keeping it is hard because as America went through like all these revolutions and things like that. People wants to take this
Mm-hmm.
land and build on top of it and do this and build airports and build this and build that, and he's trying to keep it the way his grandfather and his father taught him the land should always be. So that's you kind of watch the politics and how all that works. And that show kind of hit kind of close to home because my granddad got 80 acres of land,
Acres.
which is
Yep.
80,000.
Yeah.
And that was a problem he had because they did do eminent domain on certain parts of his land to build a prison next to it,
Mhm,
which he was
mhm.
really pissed about that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, because
that show
you
kind of
get
hits
all that
home.
land and then put a prison
It-
next to it. That's not good business. Nobody's gonna buy nobody's gonna buy
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and he's just old in the show, and then they show the kids getting older, and who do you pass the land to? Who's gonna take care of the land? Who's gonna, But they got like three spinoffs to the two. No, they got three. They got 1883, the one that show them first get to the land, and they got 1923, which shows them going through their first fight during the bootleg and the Great Depression time
Doing
in America,
prohibition and all that good
Prohibition
stuff. Yeah.
that time, how they had to fight to keep the land in. So now the big mystery is who is John Dutton's dad and how does his dad. Where does his dad at in the show? He's kin to some of those Duttons, but you don't know which ones is which.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, great show though. Yellowstone's awesome. All of them.
Well, I look forward to Wednesdays because that's the day where, I always ask my honey, like, you ready to sell dope today? Because that's snowfall. So,
Right.
with snowfall, I am all caught up. Spoiler
Mm-hmm.
alert. Um, I literally said, why are we getting so many filler episodes of Snowfall? When is Franklin going to kill Teddy, Sissy, and his baby mama? Right? I tweeted that. I want to say early March because the season came back in February. Right? The final season started in
Right.
February. So yeah. So in early March, I was like, please get to the point where you kill these people. And then last night,
Finally did it.
they got Teddy. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, Sissy about to be next. This is about to be next. So I will say that Snowfall has been a slow drag for me. I'm used to more action, and especially being the last season, the final season, and these are the last
Right.
two episodes. I was ready for everybody to die. Even stepping back a couple of episodes, you can kind of see where I think I shared this with you before when we were talking about Insecure. When you look at the first season and how they tie everything
Mm-hmm.
from the first season and kind of tie all those loose ends in the final season, you can kind of see that in Snowfall, right? Like you
Right.
remember when Teddy, well, formerly known as Reed,
Right.
grabbed Franklin and basically told Franklin, "This is my operation. You sell this for me, and you do this for me." And in the last couple of episodes, Teddy has been reminding Franklin at every chance, every opportunity that you work for me. you know, um,
Right.
really, really good dialogue from Damson Idris. I know he's not going to get any Golden Globes or any daytime Emmys or any of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know these types
Right.
of shows we don't get the recognition that I think a lot of us in our community believes it deserves. But Damson Idris and just his demeanor, his facial expressions. When I tell you that man is acting. There was a scene with him and Louis at Jerome's funeral, and basically he walks up to Louis and basically says, "I want what you promised me," which was getting access to Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Louis literally says, "You know you're the devil, right? You know you're the devil."
Right.
In 30 seconds, Franklin makes these facial expressions, the lip quiver, the look away with the glasses on. Like you can literally see how he is grappling and grasping his role as quote unquote villain. And
Right.
he said, "Well, yeah, I am." Like literally totally ate it up just off of 30 seconds of looking away, looking around, coming back in and zoning into the scene and just fully eating up the scene with his acting and his responsiveness. I was sad that Jerome passed. I also understand how they're painting Louis as this power hungry queen pin, and now because of her decisions and her actions, this whole empire is falling because she went and went straight to the plug to or to connect to Teddy and literally cut Franklin out, and like all these different things that are tying together from the very beginning of them saying, "Hey, Franklin, we gonna follow you. You run this to now
Mhm.
where everybody is following Franklin again, right? Louis got right back in line. Everybody got Leon got right back in line. Everybody's right back in line from the first season to where we are now, and I'm just interested to see how they're going to um in Snowfall. I personally think that Franklin is going to die. I don't think they're going to kill Franklin where we see he gets killed. I think it's going to be like an implied type of notion or action. Like it's going to end where Franklin has his hands up, and right before they pull the trigger, like it ends, black screen or something like that. I really feel something like that is going to happen.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Nikki. I have not been keeping up with Snowfall like that. My girl, like, she watches it, but it comes in at 10 o'clock. I gotta be honest with y'all. At 8:45, my girl will tell you this: I am shutting it the fuck down. At 9:30, I'm in a deep sleep, and I really don't want to be messed with. And that junk come on at 10 o'clock at night. I can't even watch West Coast basketball. That's how washed I am. but,
You wake up in the morning
but
to see if the Lakers won.
yeah, just see if I can try. Like, can I troll this morning? Nope.
Yep,
They won
that's
by
it.
they won in overtime. Damn. All right. So, but I ain't gonna lie to you, Nikki, and it might just be me. I just feel like Snowfall don't take enough chances in the episode. Like, and I listened to Bomani Jones talk about this on his on I forgot what his show called, but he talked about this like
Game seven.
how's how are some of these people still alive? Like,
Well, I mean,
it's
that's
like
a part of it too,
they don't
right? Like,
take chances.
I mean, but remember how we were talking about how it went off the deep end when they started like having the taxidermy and the tigers, and remember when Franklin and Louis were
Yeah,
trapped in the cage, and like all these
yeah.
different things don't necessarily resonate, but I I will say that
And I feel like
I
the
think
story should be deeper. Like shouldn't the story
well,
be a little deeper than? Because if you
I
got the
think Post said
CIA,
it best, right? Post said it best when he was like, technically, if you take out all the filler episodes of Snowfall, you have four amazing seasons.
yeah,
So we're in the
probably.
sixth season now. If you take out all those filler episodes with all the little unrealistic stuff, rewrite tweaks here and there with people getting killed and alliances shifting and changing and things like that, you have four amazing seasons of Snowfall. I'll
Yeah.
be honest. I truly believe that because I know Leon and Wanda got married. They went to Ghana. I didn't need a whole episode of that. You
Like, what
could
is
have
that?
literally just
What is that? And we Gale fans. We are Gale fans.
we
We
are
are
big Gail Bean fans. Let's throw that out
we're
there.
fans. We're fans.
We love
Okay.
Gail. She's a friend of the pod. We
But
love
shouldn't she be
Gail.
dead by now? Shouldn't she? Her character should not exist.
Well, here's the thing. They are now contemplating. I think they
A
are going
spinoff.
to do a spinoff with Wanda, which lets me know that Wanda. Remember, they don't say Wanda and Leon. It says
Right.
Wanda. So
Right.
whatever this show is going to be, it makes me think that Wanda gets back on drugs because nobody's going to watch to see a clean Wanda. Right?
Right.
And in some capacity, she's either going to be back on drugs and struggling, which also lends to my theory that Leon may be killed because they don't make any mention of it. I don't
Or
know
is
if
she gonna pick up the mantle and be the next kingpin and
or
take
she's going to
somebody's
be the
place?
next Louis, right? She's going to be the next Louis, and she's going to be the next queen pin, and
Mm-hmm.
she's going to run it. That's my thought process. It hasn't been greenlit. It's literally just in early development, pilot mode. So we don't know if we're going to get anything this year, next year around what it looks like from a pilot standpoint or what the premise of the
People are
show is
trying to
going to be.
do people are trying to do way too many IPs, man. It's like tell us and see. And I like people got mad at me about my Marvel take about Ant-Man and Quantumania, and
Yeah.
I feel how I feel about that. I feel how I feel about that. Like, don't tease me with this big bad. Then you put the big bad in the movie, and he's getting his ass beat by Ant-Man and his daughter. What are we doing, people? What are we doing? Like, it's too much trying to build big universes and IPs to collect money off of it. And I think they ruin the essence of what you started watching. Cause it's like, it doesn't, like, Snowfall to me doesn't make any sense. Like, it like, even Teddy to still be alive doesn't make sense to me. Like the fact that he
Yeah, this should have been
lived
killed
like the,
last season.
I
Hmm.
mean, this like he's rubbing hands with very dangerous people, and the CIA. It's like it's only just him. It ain't like he got a squad. I can understand if he had a 5-man team with him. Yeah, I could get how he could still be alive, but it's just him.
Yeah,
It's
Teddy
like what are we
literally
doing?
got killed. He got killed in this week's episode by
Right,
Cersei,
right.
and it made it was heartbreaking because, like I said, Damson is acting his ass off, so he's doing the most that he can do with this script.
Well, I think all the
Because
actors are doing good. I think all the actors are
he,
doing good.
he wanted Teddy dead before he even took Franklin's money,
Right,
right?
right.
But the way he died this episode is kind of like, well, he's died, he's dead, but that's not the way we wanted it done, right? Like we wanted
Mm-hmm.
Franklin to go in there and do work. But like you said, I think we have high expectations around Snowfall because it just a lot of this stuff just doesn't make sense from a logic perspective where even Franklin should be dead from based on some of the things that he's doing or has
Or
done.
in prison, or in prison.
Yeah. 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 So, but honestly, I will say that last night's episode just had me sitting up like to the point where I literally was screaming. And I'll be honest with you as well. We both fell asleep. But for some reason or another, we wake up right on time to catch Snowfall every week. So, yeah, I want to kind of switch. I know we were talking about the things that we're streaming and what we're watching from that perspective, but NBA playoffs. Well, I can't say that technically. I guess the playoffs have started, but the play-in games kicked off this week. I am not going to kick this off by talking about how disappointed I am that the Miami Heat could not put together a lineup to save their lives to beat the Hawks in the play-in game. I'm not going to say that. Um, but what are your yeah, actually, you know what? Tell me some of your predictions for the playoffs.
You know, I am fascinated by these playoffs. I do feel like the Bucks are the best team in the NBA. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Giannis is the best player in the NBA. I don't think it's actually particularly close, to be honest with you. I mean, they probably will get Embiid the MVP award, and I understand that, but to me, Giannis been the best player. I think it's a change of the guard, so I do think we're going to see some teams that we don't necessarily respect beat some of these older teams. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
like, me, I'm a big Steph fan. I think he has a calm brashness to him, that I rather enjoy. I like the fact that you know he really wants to beat LeBron and beat some of these guys, these bigger guys. I like the way he goes about it, and I do like the fact that LeBron and team made it to the playoffs. But
Mm-hmm.
something tells me both of those teams are going to get knocked out pretty early. Something tells me that it's a new wave of NBA players, young guys, like, and I think they're gonna get beat. I think we're gonna watch a change of the guard.
You've said this, and you've been adamant about it. I don't necessarily disagree. I think Embiid is going to get the MVP as well, which I think he has earned it. I'm like, even though Denver's the number one seed, nobody's scared of Denver, right? Like literally
Right.
nobody's scared of Denver. Let me go back to the West Coast Western Conference. I don't see Denver making a lot of noise. But they are the number one seed for a reason. I'm not saying that who won last night? The Lakers. So the Lakers are going to play Memphis in the first round, right? I think Lakers play Memphis in the first round, and then Minnesota will play Oklahoma for the
Would
eighth seed. I
would
think.
you be shocked? Would you be shocked if Memphis ran the Lakers off the court for 4 straight games? Like that would not
I
shock
would
me.
not. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked. I don't think they're going to do it for four straight games, but if they did, it wouldn't be like, oh my God, really? It would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think Sacramento is the one to watch, right? And congrats to Mike Brown. He just won NBA Coach of the Year earlier today. But Sacramento's that one, right? They literally went on a good little streak and were winning, and I think they hit like a 3-game slid, and then they literally came back, and I think they're third or fourth in the Western Conference. But I would not be surprised if Sacramento made it to the Western Conference Finals.
You know, okay. I don't think they're gonna. I think the Warriors are actually gonna beat Sacramento. It won't surprise me if they run the Warriors off the court. That won't surprise me. But I do think the Warriors are gonna beat Sacramento mainly because it's their first time. Like it's their
Yeah,
first time, and I think Harrison Barnes is still on that team. And I know Harrison Barnes.
wants to get
It's
back at
playoff
Golden
time.
State.
It's playoff time. I expect for him to go 2 of 10 every game.
You
Playoff
expect him
Barnes.
to it's playoff
Playoff
time. It's
Barnes.
time to get fed now.
Playoff Barnes. I mean, he was terrible when he played for the Warriors, man. They were so happy to
He
get rid of his
was.
ass. But
I felt bad for him. I felt so bad for him because it was like, I mean, one of them was like a contract year, and he literally
yeah,
shit the bed.
yeah, you just shit the bed every playoffs. You just you
So,
know.
and like I said, I'm just high on Sacramento right now because, like you said, it's their first time there. The Warriors have been there before. The only thing that worries me about the Warriors is that, remember, they don't have the home court advantage, and they've been
Right.
trashed on the road. So that's why I think
Yeah, they
Sacramento.
have
I think
been.
Sacramento's a third seed, and Golden State is a sixth, if I'm not mistaken.
If
So
if
yeah,
Sacramento wasn't trying to out Warriors the Warriors, I would pick them. But because they try to play like the Warriors, like shoot a bunch of threes, get up and down the court, it's like you're not gonna beat the Warriors doing that. You can't beat them being them. Like that doesn't work for teams. That normally fails for teams. Like Houston tried to
you
do
got to
that with
play
James
your
Harden.
game. You
You
got
got
to
to
play
find
your
another way to
game.
play. Yeah, if you try to
Yeah.
horse up as many threes and play transition the way they do, they're gonna beat you. Like we saw Boston try to do that last year in the final. Like, oh, we go get up and down. Okay, man, that's cool until you start missing shots and they start hitting shots. Now you got them down by 10. Now you leave out the quarter, they're up by 20. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't play with them like that.
Mm-hmm. No.
So
Now, okay,
I
so you got Golden State beating Sacramento.
and I
Denver
got
is going.
Memphis.
You got
I
Memphis
got
beating the
Memphis.
Lakers.
Yeah, and I got Memphis probably beating the Warriors,
Okay, Phoenix. Okay, well,
depending on
first
how that
round,
work out.
Phoenix. You got Clippers or Phoenix making it out of the first round,
So this is gonna be weird because I actually think Phoenix is the better team, but they haven't played
but the
together
Clippers
long
are going to
enough.
win. Yeah,
So
I
I feel like
agree.
the Clippers, yeah,
I think the Clippers are going to beat Phoenix.
yeah, I think it's gonna be one of them times where we realize like, oh yeah, that's right, Kawhi can actually be a top 10 player in the NBA at times, like because he does have that in him when he want to play. Oh, I got a question for you. While we talking about the NBA, what do you think about Zion? His did you listen to his comments about why he's not playing basketball? Did you
Yes,
listen to that? I mean, did you see
yes,
the? I mean, did
because
you listen to his whole
so
his
I did
whole
not listen to
thing when
the
he was
whole
talking?
piece. I did not listen to the piece, but here's I'm not listening to the whole thing, but
Uh-huh.
because mental health is such a sensitive topic,
Right,
I wanted to kind of hear from him. Um, what are some blockers or some barriers? What's going on? Because I think everybody thought he was just sitting out because he was still injured, like physically injured. There
right,
was nothing that led us to believe that he was having mental health issues. We were all under the impression that he was just trying to heal to get better. So when he came out and said, not only do I need, he's like, I'm fine physically, but I am not well mentally. And I'm paraphrasing. It makes me think of how much compassion folks gave Kevin Love.
right,
And but with Zion, the first thing everybody's saying is he's a bust, he's weak minded, he's not strong, all these other different things. So I will personally say, as a sports fan, you know, I think people pinpoint a lot of times, well, Jordan played and his father was, murdered, and this person did this when their parents were
hmm
killed, and Isaiah Thomas played when his sister was killed, and all these things, again, you recognize and you acknowledge that it takes enormous strength and courage to continue to do your job at a professional and at a high level when these things happen. but nobody's giving Zion that grace. And I don't know if it's because he hasn't won it in people's eyes, he hasn't won anything, or he hasn't had a full or complete season, or he's constantly hurt and things of that nature. So now to hear that he's having mental health issues, people are not being as gracious as I would have hoped for them to be. And I'm trying so hard not to lean into racism because, like I said, everybody gave Kevin Love so much compassion.
No,
But I'm not getting the same
I don't think it's
treatment.
racism. I don't think it's racism. I think that
Mm-hmm.
you know what I because when I listened to his whole comments when he first started talking, he was really happy. He's in a good mood. Then he went to talking about his teammates, how much he liked his teammates, and everything like that. And, he was like nice kid, smiling. To Zion. But then when he started talking about him playing basketball, he was kind of like I got to get back, and the things people say about me, calling me all these names and all these different things. And we know that Ja Morant went through a whole lot halfway through the season. He had like a little mental break thing. I think that was they didn't discuss everything with Ja. They just kind of kept everything in house, you know. Remember, because they kind of was like, oh, we're going to suspend you for the gun thing. And then it was like, oh, but you also need more time away to get him back
And go
mentally.
to rehab
Eh,
and all
but
these,
we don't know what he went to rehab for. They just said he was doing a rehab stint, and it was
Mhm.
meant to, So, and I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, like, I mean, you get $200 million, $100 million, $50 million. Like, that's a lot of money, especially when you become like the head of your household.
Mhm.
It's a lot of pressure just to be a head of a household. Now, if I give you $50 million and responsibilities, and everybody get to shine a light on your weaknesses and what you're not good at constantly,
Mhm.
I can see a scenario in which that stuff bothers you and gets to you, and you try to deal with that, and deal with that and with your vices. Use your vices to deal with certain things. So I can understand it, and I actually sympathize with them, right? But I do think this generation, our generation, or whatever it is, I do think it's like a lack of perspective that's going on because these guys in their 20s, nobody's actually expecting the Grizzlies, John Morant, Zion Williams to actually win anything. Like nobody's actually expecting to win anything. Like people just want to see them play and grow and see the team grow and play. There's not real expectations on them yet. And I'm thinking to myself, and I do realize this too, because it happens with kids in high school when you're playing sports, when you're not getting where you want to get it, you kind of start feeling like everything's against you, and you feel like,
Mhm. There's a weight.
do
There's an added
do
weight
yeah,
from the
do you want to
pressure.
do this anymore? Right? Like you feel like everything's against you. Do you really want to do this? So I'm thinking to myself, like, dang, like Zion, do you love playing basketball? You know what I'm saying? Because I like with Kevin Durant, for instance. I think he was somebody that felt a lot of the weight and the pressures of all the stuff around him. But Kevin Durant always loved playing basketball. So it was like, he was going to act silly on the internet, but he's going to go play basketball because he loved playing basketball. That's what he loved to do.
He has the passion for it.
Right. And I just kind of think that these kids, these millionaires, the face of these franchises, I do feel like they kind of lacking perspective. Like, dude, you're a like you have to kind of pare it down to, man, you're a basketball player. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? At the end of the day, you play basketball for lots of money. Just go play basketball. But it just seems like the pressures of it, and like, cause like even people brought up Michael Jordan. I understood why Michael Jordan retired after he won 3 championships. Like he had done won 3 championships. His dad had died. He had done carried the weight of building the NBA, building Nike, building all these brands, and the weight of being like Michael Jordan was like Michael Jackson. He couldn't go anywhere without crowds and floods of people around him. Like, and
Correct.
then when his dad died, people was blaming him for the death of his dad. So I
Come
could
on.
understand.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You was just about to say.
No, no, no. We constantly hold Jordan as the barometer, but like you just pointed out, people forget why he stepped away from the game.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
People forget that he had to literally go and deal with the passing of his father, the different things that were coming with people blaming him for his father's death, so on and so forth. That he said, "Hey, you know what? I've won. Let me step away." We didn't call it a mental health break at the time, but that's what the fuck it was, right? Like it
yeah.
literally was a mental health break.
He said he had questioned whether he had accomplished everything he needed to accomplish in basketball and if he still loved playing basketball. Like Jordan didn't, and I was telling somebody the other day ago, like Jordan could never be LeBron. LeBron could never be Jordan because Jordan didn't want to just play the game just to go get a bunch of stats. That's just
Mm-hmm.
that's not who he was. So he was never going to play 17 straight years just to he wanted to play to go win championships. If you wasn't winning championships, why are you even playing? That's how he always felt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
That was his
saying?
view, right? That
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 was
was his
his whole
view.
mantra, right?
That's the era he came up in. That's just how they was. Like to not be winning, to not be scoring points to win championships are empty points to him. That's how he was taught. So when these people, I do think the pressures of all that stuff is a lot. But I'm like, damn, like Zion, y'all are young. Like, and then you had like CJ McCollum come out today and he was like, we got to start eating better. We got to start going to sleep at night. We got to start doing, like, he's talking about being a professional and people getting mad at him. Like, why are you
Well,
taking
I think
shots?
they're getting
You know
mad
what I'm
at CJ
saying?
McCollum. I think they're getting mad at CJ McCollum because somebody basically said that Zion lost the locker room, nobody likes him, yada yada. And then I forgot who the player was. One of the players said, "We don't have any problems with Zion. We love Zion. We want him back, but we want him back when he feels ready, so on and so forth." Right? Like there's
Mm-hmm.
players coming and advocating, and then CJ says, your team needs you. When your team needs you, you show up and yada yada. So it feels like he's the one who is contradicting, or he's the one that's literally
Mm-hmm.
admonishing Zion. Now, mind you, what CJ is saying, like you said, CJ is not. I forgot the age gap. I was looking it up earlier, but
It's a
he
pretty
is
big
older.
age gap. Yeah, he's in his
Exactly.
he's mid 30s. He's mid
So
30s.
he comes from the old guard where you play through that. You
Yeah,
play through it. Whereas the other players are kind of like, hey, we don't know what's going on with the big fella, but we're going to support him. We're going to have his back, yada, yada.
right.
So that's why there's an issue. What CJ said isn't necessarily wrong. I think the timing is what got everybody saying, oh, you taking shots at Zion
Well,
when maybe.
I didn't feel like he was personally attacking Zion. I think he talking about everybody on that team because he was like, like go to sleep
But
at
who's,
night.
who's, who's the one person that's not playing? Who's the one
Right, right,
person who
but
gained the vote,
right,
right?
right,
He's saying the whole team, but if you read between the lines, you see what CJ McCollum is saying. But
right.
I also think, again, people like to say, oh, these players, they played through it and they got through it, but they don't realize what happens to players after the fact, right? Once they leave
Right.
the NBA, when they don't address those mental health issues and things at the moment or at the time or take the time away that they need,
Right.
when they get out of the NBA, they can't function. They're not, they don't have healthy coping mechanisms. The money's not coming in like it was before.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's different things that they have to now deal with the added pressure that they were already dealing with when they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing. If we gave the NBA players, well, any professional athlete, I think that goes to the Naomi Osaka, right? When Naomi took a break from tennis, they basically said, oh, she's being a spoiled brat. When Simone Biles in the Olympics said, hey, you know what? I need to sit out this event because I'm not there mentally. People said, oh, you're such a wuss. You literally are right there in the Olympics. People would give their right arm to be in the Olympics. Why won't you just go out there and do your little flippy flips, right? Like
Right.
we hear
Right.
more and more about these athletes that are taking their mental health breaks. And I, for one, am not a professional athlete, but if somebody tells me they're not right in the head, I got to take their word for it. I'd rather take their word for it and believe them and be fooled than to not take their word for it and something detrimental happens because I'm being judgmental because I just want to see somebody do a windmill dunk.
Right.
Like
Right.
that I think, ultimately if people need to step away to get themselves right and that means I get better basketball, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think I just think he needs. I think they need perspective. I think a lot of these kids be kind of isolated in a way because they're phenoms, and most times it seems like it be the guys that be phenoms quite early in their careers. Like it's like really evident at like 17, 18, 19 years old. Like, okay, this dude's finna cash in for millions and millions of dollars. And I do think the pressures of that coupled with people pulling you in 1,000 different directions, do 1,000 different things. I do think it kind of can cloud your perspective, man. But at the end of the day, I mean, I like Zion. I always said I would take Ja Morant over Zion the whole time. I just never thought that body type could work long term in the NBA. I mean, that dude is a powerful dude with a lot of weight. Like it's just hard to see him having a 10-year, 15-year career with that size unless he really reshaped his body. And so I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I like Zion. I hope it works out for him. But man, I do think a lot of these. I ain't gonna lie, Nikki. These NBA players are kind of aggravating.
Well, no,
They are, Nikki. They are. They are. They are.
Okay, one step back. Because you gotta remember, again, remember how you said it's a different era? And I think we touched on this previously.
Yeah.
A lot of these stars, the new up and coming stars, the youngins in the
Yeah.
NBA, they have been playing basketball year round for
Right.
almost, let's call it 10, 15 years in some instances, right? If they've been in
Yeah.
AAU ball, they're playing it year round, they're traveling, they're doing tournaments, they're playing in their middle school, they're playing in their high school, they're playing in
Right.
college. By the time they get to the NBA, their bodies are breaking down faster, right? Because that's more wear
Mm-hmm.
and tear on the body. And then also they feeling themselves, right? So it's kind of like everybody's a prima donna. Everybody wants to be the next star. Everybody wants to be, excuse me, front page news. And it's because they've been playing basketball their whole lives.
Yeah.
And the spotlight has always been on them. So the diva attitude carries over into the professionalism, right? Once they hit the
Yeah.
NBA.
I was telling somebody, there's no way I'm letting my son play year round in a sport for that long period. Like, no, dude, we gonna just take a break. Like, you could take a summer and a spring off and play in the fall. Or take like this, Nikki. They play year round tackle football. You can play tackle football in the fall, the spring, and the summer.
Sure can.
It's
Sure
at certain
can.
ages.
And then throwing that 7 versus 7, right? Throwing the camps,
Yeah,
throwing all that other stuff, like all of that on top of it. Like these kids are gonna have zero cartilage in their knees.
it's like ridiculous. Like, what are
I
we
mean,
doing? Like,
arms are falling off the bone.
it's crazy. You
You're
know.
laughing, but it's the reality because there's so much. We can talk. I know we definitely got off topic, but there's so much money in it. They're never going to stop it. There's so much
Yeah.
money into having these year round sports that they're never going to stop it. But
Yeah, I mean, you just
um,
burn kids out like that. I mean, you burn people out doing that, just year
yeah.
round. Like it's crazy.
And now
It's
their
crazy.
worth is even more. Their worth was already attached to the sport, but now their worth and their value throwing the NIL because now I can get NIL,
Absolutely.
right? Before
Yeah.
I even touch foot
Absolutely.
on college, and on the college campus. But needless to say, I think I hope for the best for Zion. I don't think he's a bust, but I do think it's hard to get because what is he 23, 24? Is he even that
Yeah, I
old
think
yet?
I don't even know if he's 24 yet. I mean, he's
Because he
pretty
got
young.
drafted at what 19?
Had to be, yeah,
Um,
19 or 20. 19 had to be 19. This NBA is so young, Nikki.
he's
I mean,
22.
unless you like
He's 22 years old.
22,
Yeah.
yeah, like unless you like a legit superstar, like really good, you don't play. There is no like 30, 35, 36 year olds unless you like LeBron James and Steph Curry. Like that caliber of player. But like back in
Correct.
the day, you would have mid 35, 30 year olds, mid 30 year olds, 28, 29, 30 year olds on the bench. But those guys don't sit on the bench no more. Like those guys are all 21, 22 year olds being developed. So it's a
Hmm.
very young NBA. Very young NBA.
It is. It is. But we rooting for everybody to come out on top, and pray that they put their mental health first, and you know we get some good basketball. Um,
Yeah, pretty much.
so I know that we've been chopping it up around what we're watching, but I know that we have definitely done a lot of name dropping as far as our significant others on, well, pretty much all season. Um, but I know you and I chop it up sometimes offline around developments, good and or indifferent. I won't say bad. But I
Challenges.
know that
Just
we've talked about various challenges overall, but we wanted to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive in the challenges of cohabitating with your significant
right.
other. Um, my I'm the oldest of four, so for the longest I've always had a roommate. I've always had people around me,
Mhm.
siblings. My God bless the dead, my mom's house was the communal house, so everybody was always there. The sleepovers were always there. So the first time I lived by myself, honestly, was after I graduated college. So after I
Mm.
graduated college, that was my first time, like literally being in my own space, controlling my own environment, no roommates, just being able to come and go as I please, leave things here, clean up when I want, whatever, whatever. Even in my first marriage, when I first got married, we had the opportunity to have good space in our house. So, he could be on one side of the house, I could be on the other side. And it was just like, okay, all well and good, right? I
Right.
will say that now that, with us living together, with my honey now, um, he is a gem, complete gem. When I tell you, the trash is taken out, um,
Mm.
spaces are kept decent, for the most part, we have a really good understanding of keeping our home nice, clean, and in order. I will say the
Mm.
one challenge is um I am very much into keeping my clothes in either certain folded spaces or hung up, right? So when I
Right.
come home, I if I take something off, it goes in the hamper. If I have something that I want to put on or whatever the case may be, and I don't wear it, then I put it back on the hanger and I hang it back up in the closet. Um,
Mhm.
my honey does not do that. He will come home. He will drop them clothes on the nearest space that he can lay them on
Right.
and keep them there. Um, I am also one of those people that I make my bed in the morning, right? Just the military
Right.
ingrained in me. My dad does it. My mom did it. She's like, you will not leave this house without making up this bed. You never know who's coming over here, and I need these rooms clean at all times and in shape, right? So even at my big age of 40, I am still in the same space where I'm like, bed's got to be made, clothes need to be hung up. Like I still feel the ghost of my mother sitting right here on my shoulders, right? So initially it was a challenge. I will tell you now that we had literally one conversation about it. And there are times because I work from home, I will take Caden to school, I will come back to the house and he's made the bed and literally just like I would make it, right? There's been times now where I will come home, even if he left clothes like on the ottoman or on the bed. There are times now where I come home and he has hung them up. And that's based
Right.
off of one conversation. So we were able to move through a lot of those challenges quickly. Um, I will say that a lot of the things that come up is just like, okay, is this my need for it to be clean and orderly, or is this my need to be in control?
so, so, so that is the balance, right? Like, is this do I really have a problem with this, or do I just want to control something, right? Like that's really the balance in the house, right?
That's
I think
it.
that's the biggest balance. I think that's the biggest balance in the house. Like, like, is this really important to me, or do I just want to feel in control? So I think so. I do. I will put my clothes in a hamper. Um, but my girl is a super neat person. She's very neat,
Mhm.
like and she is very process oriented, right? So like she kind of like want things done in a systematic way, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where we struggle. Well, I struggle with that because she'd be like, Sam, you didn't unplug the coffee maker when you got done making coffee in the morning. I'm like, I be thinking to myself, 4:30 in the morning. I really need a cup of coffee, and I'm probably
4:30 in the morning is unplugging the coffee maker.
yeah, like all right, but but let me take a little extra time. I'll put the coffee maker. Sometimes I do it. It's hit. Sometimes it's miss. But I will
Mm-hmm.
tell you the first one we got into about that was so funny to me is so when you know how you have your rug when you take a shower,
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
take a shower, you put a rug down. You have a rug,
Correct. Because you're not gonna
right?
wet
So
on the floor.
right. Which I'm cool with that, right? But she likes to have it once you get done taking a shower or bath to pick the rug back up and hang it up. She got a place that she hangs the rug up at, right? So,
Okay.
so, so me, I'm like, take a shower. So I took a shower, so if I took a shower before her, so I took a shower, I left the rug there. So, I'm
Oh, you
laying
took
in
a shower
bed.
before her. Right. Right.
Yeah, you got to take a shower. So you gonna need the rug there. So she was like, hey, you left the rug there. So yeah, but you got to take a shower. So what's the biggie? You know what I'm saying? I'm taking a step away from you. You ain't got to put that down. It's already there.
Right. Right. I'm helping you.
She like, no, but you got to create a habit. See, you're not creating the habits. I need you to create a habit of picking it up. But I was looking at her
I
like,
know that's right.
I was like, feel like you're my mom.
So it is funny you say that because I also I'm of the same ilk where I'm like I am regimented. When we wake up in the morning,
Uh huh.
okay, take your vitamins, take your medicine,
Right.
shower, let's get dressed. If you want to make the bed
Right.
before you get, that's fine. Like I'm very regimented about it. But we're gonna leave this house in a decent condition. Like we're very methodical to the point now where like I don't have to say, "Hey, did you take your vitamins?" or "Hey, did you do this?" or "Hey, did you do that?" Like it's already
Right.
like he's like, "Hey, I'm in the car. I already took my vitamins. I'm like 30 minutes away from work." Like you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we're already in that mode
So
because I feel like I have already, for lack of better
yeah.
words, I know it sounds bad. I feel like we're all trained now.
Yeah. And I think but I have to realize though, 'cause a lot of things she asked me to do, I have to realize, you know what, this is what make living with a woman so great, right? Because she is regimented. She does keep things organized. She knows where things are at. She has to run the house. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
So I was like,
mhm.
it's actually a good thing. So I don't really fight her on none of this stuff anymore. I'd be like, it's fine. We good. Sometimes I'd be a little irritated with certain things. I'm like, you know what? It's fine because this is her house. She has to run the house. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I would be mad
Let
if
her
I
do
came
it.
home and stuff was everywhere, right? So you have to
Gotta let
kind
her
of take the
do it.
good with the bad. You gotta let her do it. So I was like, but that has been a that's probably the biggest one. That and you do have to constantly communicate your whereabouts. That can be a little irritating at times, but
What's so
you know,
irritating about that, man?
it's funny because she got mad at me because we were talking about something one day, and she said, "Well, you didn't call, so I didn't know where you was at, this and that." And I was like, and I was kind of irritated that day already, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a point to be an a hole tomorrow. So I got up and I text, I like walking out the door, just got to the car, opened up the
Now you
door,
being a jerk. Now
driving
you
to the
being a jerk.
driving
See
to the
how you
job.
do? Now you're just being a jerk.
Yeah, so I had to start doing that. She was like, "Okay, that's not what I'm trying to. You missing the point." I'm like, I know
So
what you're
we
trying to
are
say.
like again, we are creatures of habit, right? And because we're
Mm-hmm.
creatures of habit, like I'm like that too. Like he gets off of work between 5 and 5:15. If I don't get a phone call by 5:30, I'm kind of like, okay, are you okay? What's going on?
Right.
Because we're creatures of habit. We've established this pattern. I wake up in the
Uh,
morning, we leave the house, I drop Cadence to school, I go to the gym. Between that time, we talk. So,
right.
we establish patterns. If there's something that deviates, it's
Mm-hmm.
literally like, okay, hey, I need to clear my head. I am going to the cigar lounge. I will be home
Right.
by this time.
Right.
Cool, right? Hey,
Hmm.
I got a friend date with my girlfriend. We're gonna go put bouquets together and put flowers together. I am here. I will be home at this time. Like we're literally in that space. And I said it's not for me to track you or to keep up with you, but I'm like, we have patterns, we have habits, and if they are broken, it's a cause for concern.
Absolutely.
Like that's literally how I see it. But like I said, it comes down to that communication, right? Like I had a
Yeah, it
bad day.
does.
I don't feel like talking, or I had a bad day and I need you to listen, right? Or
Right.
it's um the sacrifice and compromise of the whole cohabitating. Now, I will be honest and tell you that I do find myself taking more steps back where before I would just be immediately like respond, boom, 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 because I'm solutions oriented. Now I'm
Hmm.
like, here's my first thought. And even though this
All
is
right.
my first thought, it's just me just saying, here's what I'm thinking. But after I think about it, here's what our solution is, or here what I think, here's the direction I think we should go, or here's what we should do. What do you think about that? Right? It's more so being able to be clear
Hmm.
on not leaving any question marks for you.
Right. 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 Absolutely. I mean, so it is an adjustment, but it's a whole thing about patience and and it's get to know each other thing. This is the okay. Now I'm really getting to know who you are. I'm getting to see your routine, and for the most part, I think it's all pretty good. It's all pretty good. I give her a hard time about
There are
some of the stuff
definitely
because I have
more
to be defiant.
positives. It's
Yeah.
definitely more positives than negatives, right? Because with um he and I, like he's my teddy bear, right? So he very rarely tells me no, or he very rarely barks back. But I can tell when I'm doing too much, and I was like, oh, I pushed it too far. Or like I might have gone too far here, or whatever the case may be. But honestly, it's been rewarding. Like the little things that I'm so used to doing, or I'm so used to taking on, are the things that he's like, hey, what can I take off your plate? Um,
Right.
so I definitely appreciate it. And I'm learning to be a better person. But I am babbling. So before we get out of here, is there anything else you want to leave the people with?
No. That's a full episode. Um, if you watch the whole thing, man, leave some comments, man. Let me know what you think about Zion. Let me know what you think about Succession if you're watching it. Recommend some other TV shows to us to watch. You know what I'm saying? Let us know. So just leave some feedback.
Yeah, don't forget to rate us and leave us a great rating. If you leave a bad one, we're just going to delete it anyway. But don't be a hater. Go ahead and give us our stars. Listen in to the pod, retweet, and give us some feedback. And we'd love to hear from you. So, Sam, we out.
We out.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. So, what's next? Where we talk about things that matter today and probably won't even be thinking about tomorrow.
Absolutely.